Welcome back to another episode of How I Cook. I'm Stephen and Frederick, and I'm calling this episode Here Comes the Sun. Spring is here, flowers are blooming, life is coming back. So we're going to make things with oranges and orange juice this time. Why am I calling it Here Comes the Sun? Well, Florida is the Sunshine State, and we say have a glass of sunshine when we drink orange juice. So here comes the sun. It's Sunday morning. I'm making a marinade for chicken because it needs to marinate for at least 4 hours. So let's get started. A cup of orange juice, putting it in a Ziploc bag. This is going to make things so easy. Half a cup of soy sauce. 2 cloves of garlic. This is the pre-chopped. 1, 2. And in this case, it also calls for half a teaspoon of ground garlic. So 2 forms of garlic. 2 tablespoons of rosemary. 1 tablespoon of oregano. 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And 1 cut up onion. These are really just rough cuts. They're not going to be used when we bake. So there we have it. We'll close this up. Shake it up a bit. Reopen it. And then add chicken. This is 8 pieces of chicken thighs. Bone in, skin on. Can you use bone out, skin off? Sure, you use what you want to. Remember, this is how I cook. Not the right way, not the way you should do it, how I cook. So, I got these at Costco. They're really varying in size. I guess that's a chicken thigh. Regular size ones. Another tiny, tiny chicken thigh. But I'm putting 8 of them in here. Boom. Now, we make sure we seal this. Squeeze out some of the air. And now we make sure the marinade gets all over the chicken. There we go. Easy squeezing. This is going to go in the refrigerator for at least 4 hours. It's 9 a.m. Sunday morning, and I'm not going to be cooking this until a little after 5 this evening, so it's going to be 8 hours, which is fine, because it can be 4 hours or overnight. So I'll see you in about 8 hours. Okay, it's around 7.5 hours later, so welcome back. We're not going to do anything with the chicken right now. It's still in the fridge. I've been flipping it over every time I think about it, so the marinade is evenly distributed. We're going to be making an orange sour cream pound cake. So, the orange flavor of the pound cake comes from orange zest. So here's an orange that hasn't been zested. Here's an orange that has been zested. You see, I've taken the orange off without getting the white. The white's really bitter. So, you can use a rasp. And what you do is, you just go, you don't press too hard. And you see, it comes there and you scrape it out. If you don't have a rasp, that's okay. You use the vegetable peeler and you go along. Don't go too deep because you don't want the white. And you get a piece of zest. And then you just cut it into really fine strips and then across the strips. So no fancy rasp or anything is needed. And there you have it, you have zest. Okay, so I need to zest the second orange, but I also need to beat the butter. Here's a cup of softened butter. Needs to go into the mixer. It needs to beat for 5 minutes. So I'm not gonna make you guys watch the whole thing. So while I'm beating this for 5 minutes, I'll continue zesting this orange, and then we'll come back and do the next step. So it's been 5 minutes. I've been scraping the butter down occasionally. It is white now, the butter, not yellow. And the whole point of the 5 minutes is to get air in there, to make it light and fluffy. Next, a cup and a half of white sugar. Dump it in, close it up, lock it, and let it go for another 5 minutes. This is called creaming. Okay, so it's been 5 minutes, and the sugar and butter have been creamed. As you can see, it still is very white. We're scraping it down. This looks like really stiff whipped cream. It's okay if it's not off the paddle for now. Flying cream. All right, now we're going to add 5 eggs. Lower speed, 1 at a time. 1. 2. 3. 4. And 5. And now can you guess what we're going to do? We're going to beat it for 5 more minutes to get more air in there. It's all about getting air into the batter. So another 5 minutes has passed, and everything is well beaten together. This is now much lighter, fluffier, now that the eggs have been put in. So I said this was an orange sour cream cake, 1/3 a cup of sour cream. And around a teaspoon of vanilla. I was just, it was more like a tablespoon. I really like vanilla. Not another 5 minutes. We're just going to incorporate the vanilla and the sour cream. The smell of that vanilla, oh, it smells great. Next, the zest of the 2 oranges. That's where the orange flavor is going to come for the cake itself. Turn this up to high to make sure it really gets in there. Whee! Okay, scrape this down. Great. Oops. And then we're going to slowly incorporate a cup and a half of flour. Liberally going to spray a loaf pan. going to scrape this down, but we want to be gentle. All that air that has been put into the batter, we don't want to deflate it. And then we're going to gently put the batter into the loaf pan, not deflating the batter. Smells wonderful. We want to tap it in case there's any air bubbles. I now have an oven that's been preheated to 325 degrees, not 350, 325. This is going to go in for 70 minutes. We'll put it in, we'll check it around 60 minutes, see how it's coming, and then we'll finish it with a great orange glaze. Okay, so it's after 5 o'clock, and we're going to continue our orange theme. We have our 2 oranges that we took the zest off for the cake, but we're going to use it in a cocktail. We're going to make orange crushes. So it's 1 orange per cocktail. I'm making 2 cocktails because the crew deserves a cocktail as well. I have a shaker with some ice in it, and I'm squeezing the orange juice in there. I have one of these things, which is great. It helps get a lot of the juice out. It then calls for 2 ounces of vodka. So since we're doing 2, I'm going to use 4 ounces. Maybe a little bit more. 2 ounces of triple sec, which is an orange liqueur, sticking with the theme. Again, doubling it to 4 ounces since we're making 2. A little more. We have some orange bitters here. Bitters like you use in the Manhattan. Well, they come in multiple flavors. So there's quite a few shakes of orange bitters. Trying to put the wrong cap on, and I haven't had a sip yet. And we're going to shake it up. Okay, pour it into our glass that already has ice in it. And then to lighten it up a little, we're going to add a little club soda. You don't put the club soda in when you shake it. If you do, all the carbonation will go away. You can also use lemon lime soda, or you don't have to use anything. So there we have an orange crush in our theme with Here Comes the Sun. Okay, so it's been around 75 minutes. I checked it at 60 and 70. I think it'll be okay, 70 minutes. We're taking the cake out. That looks beautiful. Let's see if it's done. Tester. We want it to come out clean. It is. Good. That's a good sign. Next, I want to go around and loosen it. And then we'll let it sit for a few minutes before we turn it out. In those few minutes, we will move on. So we're going to have the chicken, but we need something to go with the chicken. So we're going to have carrots. Here's a bag of carrots. These are cut into chips. Red onion. Half a red onion. Cut it in half again, and then cut it into slices. We're throwing the red onion in with the carrots. An orange. I washed the outside well, cut off the one side, cut off the other side, cut in half, cut in half, cut in half, slices. In with the carrots and the onions. So now we're going to make something to put on top of the carrots, onions, and oranges. We're going to use a tablespoon of honey. Two tablespoons of olive oil. 1, 2. About a teaspoon of rosemary. A little bit more. Some black pepper. And some salt. We're going to whisk all that together. Okay. And now pour this mixture over the onions, the carrots, and the oranges. Make sure to get every last bit. Mix it well. Here's the chicken that we've had marinating all day. We're going to put it on the same sheet pan. Just shake off any excess. Pull the skin over. So we have our 8 pieces of chicken, our oranges, carrots, and onions, all in one sheet pan. We have an oven that is preheated to 425 degrees, 425, and in it goes for 35 minutes. Now, hopefully, the cake will come out. It's a little warm. Okay. So there we have it. Isn't that beautiful? And we're not done yet. We're going to make an orange glaze to put on top of it once it cools down. So for now, I'm going to clean things up. The chicken and veg are in the oven. This will cool down. We're almost in the home stretch. So it's been around 40 minutes and it looks like the chicken and the vegetables are ready. Look at how great everything looks. Now I want to take the temp of the chicken. It needs to be at least 165. Pound cake is cool. We're going to make an orange glaze. So in this bowl, I have a half cup of confectioner's sugar. And I'm going to add to it 3 tablespoons of orange juice. I'm starting with 3 tablespoons. We'll whisk it together. and see if it makes a nice glaze. If it doesn't, if it's still too thick, we will add more orange juice. It's a little thin, so I'm going to add a little more confectioner's sugar. And that's what you need to do when you're cooking. Again, you're in the kitchen alone. Nobody knows. That looks pretty good. Tastes very good. So next, we're just going to glaze the pound cake. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode that I've titled Here Comes the Sun, featuring oranges and orange juice. We have our orange crush. Here comes the sun. Our orange pound cake, our chicken, and our carrots, onions, and oranges. All looks pretty good. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope to see you next time. I'm Stephen and Frederick, and this is how I cook.